Because as you know, there are a lot of very bad things happening, very bad things.
Terrible things.
Very terrible
Terrible
things happening.
things. It's a disgrace.
Yes, Cyril, bad things are happening in South Africa, and it's not comical. It's sad that the president of the country decides it's funny to laugh about bad things happening in South Africa. Of course, he's mocking President Donald Trump, who is correct in stating bad things are happening. 27,000 murders in South Africa annually. That's 13,000 more than the United States, a country 6 times as large and geographically exponentially large than South Africa. 27,000 murders. How many South Africans died Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Well, I don't have the figure. What I can tell you is that there were more farm murders over the weekend, a topic the government of South Africa fails to address. News 24 reports today that a Limpopo farmer, age 77, was killed in a brazen farm attack and his wife hospitalized. Talon Bezuidenhout says that a 77-year-old Limpopo farmer was murdered in a brutal farm attack on Saturday. The victim was tied up and severely assaulted on his Baltimore farm, and his wife was rushed to hospital but survived the incident. Jacques Brudrick from AfriForum Safety has reported on this over the weekend, as well as another murder that took place in South Africa on a farm. According to Limpopo police, Atmane left his house at 1600 to check on his cattle. While he was away, the assailants entered the home and tied his wife Pietro up and ransacked the property. When Mane returned about an hour later, they overpowered him and tied him up at knife point. Once again, they're assaulting the elderly, the most vulnerable, because they're cowards. They severely assaulted him and then fled the scene. They stole a firearm, cell phones, and undisclosed amount of cash. Now, despite being tied up, his wife Pietro managed to alert the farm watch, which responded. Upon reaching the scene, the police, as well as neighboring farmers, found that Atmane was still tied up and unconscious. Emergency medical service declared him dead on their arrival at the scene. The Democratic Alliance has expressed sympathy and support for the Mane family and the broader Baltimore farming community in Limpopo. The Freedom Front Plus condemned the incident, describing it as appallingly brutal. Bear in mind, folks, this is a brazen, broad daylight assault on elderly South Africans.
It's a disgrace.
But apparently it's humorous to Cyril oppose that bad things are happening in South Africa, gender-based violence, murders, assaults on black, white, and brown South Africans. He finds humorous. That's sickening. How can anybody be so callous and uncaring? Well, we could ask him that, except that South Africa's media never ask him that question. That's never a question they ask. Only genuine journalists would ask a question like that. After all, he feigned ignorance about the crosses at Normandy after Glenn and Vita Rafferty were cruelly butchered on their farmstead. Yep. He turned to Donald Trump and said, "Mr. President, where is this? I've never seen this before," as if we're supposed to believe he never saw that before. We know very well that he saw that. The callous disregard and the dismissal and the mocking of President Trump over raising awareness about an issue that South Africans should all care about. Speaking of caring about it, the Freedom Front Plus and the Democratic Alliance have responded. I haven't seen any statements from the African National Congress, the Economic Freedom Fighters, who call for the murder of South Africa's farmers, or from the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party. Nothing. For that matter, Action SA. No message from them either. Of course, they're not very prevalent in Limpopo, so I can understand that. But still, where is the humanity? A 77-year-old man tied up and beaten. At least this one is being reported as a murder to the press. Let's see if it makes it into police report as a murder. It's just another home robbery to cook the statistics like we saw in Brits earlier this year. Yes, Mr. President, bad things are happening in South Africa. No matter how much you laugh about it, South Africans are dying on your watch. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi. Cheers.